Today, I'm going to show you how I've been using Excellent Audio's new plugin, DB30 Drum Butter.
I got bad thoughts taking over slowly. Got a hold of me, I can't shake them all. Got bad thoughts hanging on my shoulder. Got a hold of me, and I can't get them all.
As you can hear, Drum Butter is enhancing these drums quite a bit. Obviously, it's adding compression, in turn making the drums louder, so when we bypass it, we don't get the same level of loudness. So in that case, let's just turn up the master of the original unprocessed drums and then compare them with Drum Butter, so we can kind of get a closer sense of what Drum Butter is doing, rather than just hearing like quiet drums versus loud drums. I feel like that's not too fair. Let's just go to the master here, and then we're just gonna crank these drums.
Thoughts taking over slowly. Got a hold of me, I can't shake them off. Got bad thoughts hanging on my shoulder.
Okay, and then now we'll turn it back down and then just turn Drum Butter.
I got bad thoughts taking over slowly. Got a hold of me, I can't shake them off.
So just off rip, you can hear that it's adding a lot more space. I do actually like the compression here. It is making all the elements of the drums, shine through, cut through a little bit more. Obviously the saturation and this more knob, which I'll get into everything momentarily, but it's adding a lot of distortion to the track. And then this shift thing is pretty cool. It's just kind of adjusting the pitch. So yeah, that's kind of generally what you can result you can get out of Drum Butter. Now I'll sort of break down most of the features. I'll just do sort of a general overview, all the things that I've been adjusting with Drum Butter. Just to start off with, there are tons of presets that you can just scroll through instead of building initial patches, which is helpful because I've basically just been scrolling through presets and then adjusting things to my liking. But yeah, so let's just kind of start off with this Boom Shack knob here. And before I start, all these knobs are adjustable and the order does matter. So this Boom Shack knob adds sub to the kick or sub to the low end, and then noise to high end stuff, and you can change what kind of noise you add. So let's start off kind of more with the boom, and then I'll just mute everything else and loop the drums for now. So it's adding this sub. Let's also turn all this stuff off. It's adding this sub to make the kick more heavy, right? Ideally, you'd want to change the pitch to the key of your song. So in this case, I really should have it at C because I'm playing a C minor 9. It's kind of the chord I'm arpeggiating. So that way the sub matches the key and you don't have anything, clashing. You have this decay here, which now you can really hear the sub because the decay is very slow. But with a shorter decay, you just kind of get the thumpy subbiness to the kick. You can hear the kick feels a little bit hollow and empty here. This just gives it that thumping, that thump feature, you know what I'm saying? And then down here are sort of like the master knobs for adjusting like how much you want this, boom to take effect in your kicks or in your drum mix. So you can adjust that to your liking. And then the shack, which you adjust with this little knob, which I'm not utilizing the shack for these specific drums, but you can hear it's just adding noise to the snare. And let me go back, because this is how you trigger the boom and shack, sub and noise. So I have the shack right around here, so the snare is triggering this, because if I had the whole thing, the kick would also trigger it and you'd get the shack noise all the time. So yeah, you can adjust the noise, which is kind of cool. Another like texture to add to your snare. This tambourine one's kind of cool. I was messing around with this earlier. And again, you can also change the pitch, change the decay. Let's just turn this off though, because I don't really want this sound and these particular drums. And this shift knob, I think the shift and the space one are particularly two of my favorites. This is just really like a pitch shift. Originally the drums sound like this, and I'm kind of just bringing the pitch down. Yeah, I think it's just kind of cool. With everything on, it sounds pretty cool when you're adjusting the shift here. You can just get some interesting sounding drums pretty easily. That's the one thing I will say about this. I've never really used drum processing plugins like this, but it's just kind of easier to get interesting sounding drums rather than like building out your own processing chains and, you know, having a million whatnots. So let's move on to the booth. This is just sort of like putting your drums in a room, I guess is the simplest way I can describe it. I really like this space. It brings the drums into the stereo field pretty nicely. This is like specifically an effect that I've had a hard time replicating. I mean, you could do it with reverb and having like small reverb decays and you know, small percentage of reverb wetness, and you kind of get a similar vibe. And you know, again, you get a decay. You can pan, and then you can also change like what kind of room it's in, which is cool. These slap ones are also kind of cool, like a slap back reverb. But yeah, cool sound. And then this is just like straight up compression. You got like 6 different modes here. And then you have this upward and downward knob. So, and I'm going to try to explain upward and downward compression the simplest way I know how. If you have this cranked all the way to 100% upwards, the quietest parts will be louder. It'll be brought closer to the loudest parts of the drums or whatever sound you're compressing. And downward is the reverse. It's making the louder transients quieter. And then in that case, you would have to up the gain to sort of bring all the volume all the way up. So hopefully that kind of makes some sense. And so you can adjust, you know, how much downward and how much upward compression, you know, you're using in your drum compression. And then you can also adjust how many bands you're using. And then this is just the general like compression sort of knob. And then saturate. Now this is just like straight distortion. Again, you got like 6 different kind of modes here. The big knob to adjust how much distortion. I think this tape distortion sounds pretty nice right now. And then we got the more knob, which to my understanding is just like the saturation just multiplied. So it just makes things more distorted. Alright, that's too much. But it sounds good. This crunch to me, I like how this distortion sounds. If you're going for that feel. And you can just the tone here. So it sounds like it's distorting more of the stuff on the high end, and this is really crunching up that low end. So I believe I had a little bit of this, and then down here you just kind of have like your master sort of adjustments you can make on the entire master of the drums here. So you have your EQ similar to the RC20. You got these you know, these different roll-off modes. You have this tone. And then I like this clipping. This soft clipper is pretty cool. I'm using it on pretty much every time I use this plugin. I just put the soft clipper on. And yeah, that's kind of a general overview. Let's just listen to this one more time, and then we can just make some stuff with it. I'll just kind of show you how I implement this into my workflow.
thoughts taking over slowly. Got a hold of me, I can't shake them all. Got bad thoughts hanging on my shoulder. Got a hold of me, and I can't get them all. And I tried to, they won't let me. I need more room, cause I can't breathe.
Okay, let's get into a new track. We're just gonna make some stuff from scratch. Alright, now should we start with drums or should we start with some chords? Usually I don't really start with drums. And let's get rid of my previous drum processing chain. Okay. Yeah. Like, it's just, you know, if you're having a hard time getting drums, and you don't even have to use addictive drums too, you could really throw this on anything. And you don't even have to throw it on drums. Matter of fact, you can throw this on whatever you want. Like, I like that. I like how it's making that snare sound, but whoa, what the? Oh, see, that's that shack, dude. That's that shack adding them bubbles. Okay. Okay, I like that sound. I want something. And then let's turn this focus to more of the snare. I just want more. Or maybe no, I don't want the kick in there. Yeah, that sounds cool. And then let's add a little bit. Oh, and let's just, you know, for the hell of it. Like, you know, it's pretty, you can get pretty nice results pretty fast. Okay, let's just throw something down with this real quick. Okay. Let's just do that first part for now. I'm trying not to overthink anything, you know. Okay, maybe that last pitch bend was not the greatest idea.
Just running off in my mind. I don't think I can show myself. I need to take a rest. Don't think I'm doing well. I lost my mind again. Don't wanna listen, but I gotta let go, let go, let go, let go.
Alright, something like that.
Don't wanna listen, but I gotta let go, let go, let go,
Okay, so that's like a good little use case. That's how I would use it in the song. Or if I were like, you know, making something lately, I guess I've kind of been on this kind of vibe. I've been doing that to my vocals a lot. So I feel like the drums, like the spacey drums, kind of lend themselves well to this sort of sound. But let's just do, this is what I do every time I make something, just resample. Oh my god, bro, I didn't even realize I've been making this at 124.5 BPM. To me, that's fucked up, bro. But we're just gonna keep it there, I guess. Okay, and then I hit him with that, right? Do the repitch, and then now we get a whole different song right now. Okay. Alright, so yeah, that's how I've been using Drum Butter lately. If you're looking to buy the plugin, check out my affiliate link. It'll support me, and you get 20% off of any excellent audio product. Right now, DB30 is $99. This is the introductory offer. So check that out. If you can't buy it, don't feel like you need to. And yeah, man, peace.
And I tried to, they won't let me. I need more room, 'cause I can't breathe.